Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever written a C function that was supposed to change a variable, but when you checked, nothing? Yeah, you're not alone. It's a classic C gotcha. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and reveal the one simple secret that explains everything. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll see C functions in a whole new light.
And we're going to start with a little puzzle. Now, this is a classic C problem that looks super simple on the surface, but its solution reveals the single most important rule about how C functions handle your data.
So I want you to take a really close look at the code coming up. Read it, think about it for a sec, and make a prediction. What do you think the final output is going to be?
All right, here it is. In our main function, we've got an integer, I, and we set it to 10. Pretty simple. Then we pass that I to a function called increment. Now, inside that function, we take the value and we bump it up with a++. Finally, we pop back into main and we print whatever I is. So if your gut says the answer is 11,
well, as the Dread Pirate Roberts from The Princess Bride would say, get used to disappointment. Ha! Because yeah, the obvious answer here is actually wrong. This is that moment where so many C programmers just scratch their heads.
The actual output is 10. The value of I doesn't change at all. It's like our increment function did absolutely nothing to it. So the big question is, why? Okay, so to solve this little mystery, we need to take a quick step back and look at the anatomy of a C function. Once we get the pieces, I promise, the why behind our puzzle is going to become crystal clear. So let's use this simple function as our example, +1. It's a great little function, does exactly what you'd think. It takes an integer, n, and, well, it returns that number +1. All right, let's break this signature down. First up, you've got int. That's the return type. It tells us the function is going to give us an integer back. Then, +1. That's the name, obviously. But the part in the parentheses, int n, that is the most important piece for our puzzle. That's the parameter.
So what exactly is a parameter? Think of it like a special local variable that only exists inside that function. And its entire job is to hold a, wait for it, copy of the value you pass in. Not the original value, no. A brand new, totally separate copy. That's the key word here, copy.
Okay, with that one magic word, copy, stuck in your head, we are ready for the big reveal. Let's trace our original puzzle step by step and see exactly what's happening in the computer's memory. This whole idea is called pass-by value.
So we start off in the main function. The program carves out a little piece of memory, let's just call it a box. It labels that box I, and it sticks the number 10 inside. Simple enough, right?
now, here's the magic moment. We call increment I. C sees this and does something very, very specific. It goes to that box labeled I, peeks inside and sees the number 10. Then it creates a brand new, completely separate box just for the increment function. It labels this new box A, that's our parameter name, and it copies the value 10 into it. So now we have two different boxes in memory, and both of them contain the number 10.
Okay, so now we're inside the increment function. The line A++ runs. What does it do? It finds its box, the one named A, and changes the value inside to 11. But here's the thing. The increment function is in its own little world. It has no idea that a box named I even exists out there in main. It can only see its own local variables. So that original box, I, is completely untouched. It's still sitting there with the number 10 in it.
And then the function finishes. Its job is done. So the program cleans up after it, and all of its local variables, including our box A with the 11 in it, are just discarded. They vanish from memory. Poof, gone.
So when we finally get back to the printf statement in main, what's left in memory? Just our original box, I. It was never touched, and it still has the number 10 inside. And that is why our program prints 10.
This is the unbreakable golden rule of C. Let's say it again, because it is that important. Everything you pass to a function, without a single exception, is copied into its parameter. The function always works on its own private copy, never, ever on the original. All right, so now that we've totally nailed the core concept of pass-by value, let's talk about the right way to organize our functions in the code. And this is where another golden rule comes in, using function prototypes. So, why does the compiler need to know about a function before you use it? Well, check this out. On the left, you've got the define before use method. You just write the entire function out before main. And look, it works. But for big programs, it gets messy. It's like reading a book with no table of contents.
Now look at the right. That's a prototype. It is the table of contents. It's just one line that tells the compiler, hey, trust me, a function with this name, these parameters, and this return type, it exists somewhere. I'll show you the full code later. This lets you organize your code so much better, with main right at the top where it belongs. And this isn't just some nice little feature, you know. Using prototypes is how professional C code is actually written. It's what lets you split your code across different files. And get this, you've been using them this whole time and probably didn't even realize it. You know that #include stdio.h line at the top of your files? You're not actually including the code for printf. You're including a header file that's just full of prototypes, telling your compiler what printf and all its buddies look like.
All right, one last piece of the C function puzzle we need to talk about. It's simple, but it's super important. It's the keyword void. So what is void? It's basically C's way of saying nothing, or no type. You use it to be super clear to the compiler and to other humans reading your code that a function either returns nothing or it accepts nothing as an argument. You're going to see void in two main spots. First, as the return type. If you see void there, it just means the function does something, but it doesn't hand you a value back. It's like a command. Second, you'll see it in the parameter list. And this is really important, so here's a pro tip for you. Always use void to show a function takes 0 arguments. You might think just leaving the parentheses empty does the same thing, right? Well, in old school C, that actually meant the function could take any number of arguments, which is not great. So using void inside the parentheses is the modern, safe, and super clear way to say this function takes absolutely nothing. So, if there's one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. C is pass by value. That means it always makes a copy of what you pass to a function. Getting this isn't just some neat trivia, it's the absolute key to mastering how data flows through your C programs.
But that brings us to a really interesting question, doesn't it? If functions can only ever work on copies, how can we ever write a function that actually modifies the original data back in main? Well, there is a way. C programmers have a really clever technique for it. They call it passing by reference. And